Welcome back to Second Balcony. Today we'll talk about the Truman Show and then a few trailers that came out this week. With us we have Ryan.
Hello.
Who's always with us. He won't leave. And then we have a guest, Chase.
Hi.
This is Chase.
Hi.
So, as of, per usual, one of us is a fan of the movie. One of us is not a fan. I don't know about Chase yet. I don't know if you like
see.
it.
Yeah. Well, you'll see.
We'll discuss.
But we found out that it's mostly me liking movies and Cade not liking movies.
It's true. The movies we don't agree on, it's usually that Ryan likes them, again, because he's too liberal with his 5 stars. But today we found a movie that I love and Ryan hates. The Truman Show, starring Jim Carrey. It's actually probably my favorite Jim Carrey movie, at least in the top 5. Top 3, probably.
I think Jim Carrey, my favorite would be Eternal Sunshine on the Spotless Mind.
That's probably also my favorite, honestly. This is probably my second favorite Jim Carrey movie. See, we agree on so many things.
Yep. Truman Show is definitely my number 1 Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you're a fan?
Yep, we're getting
I am
up
a
on
fan.
you today.
I'm a very big fan of this movie.
All right, Ryan, do you want to start us off with one thing what are you... Ryan, how about you start us off with a point
A point.
against it?
Okay, my history of The Truman Show is I watched it for the first time a few years ago. I was in college when I first watched it.
Me too, actually.
Yeah, it was on Netflix or something.
Yeah, I just saw it on Netflix several years ago.
I watched it before all of you.
And I guess the problem is the hype was so high for this movie because everyone praises it.
Uh-huh.
And I watched it and I was like, oh, all right.
I honestly have never heard of it before I
Really?
watched it. Yeah, I just saw that it was a movie on, my recommendeds on Netflix 5 years ago, and I watched it for the first time.
So interesting.
I watched it in junior high. It was actually on New Year's when I watched it.
Yeah.
So not only was it New Year's and everyone was having a good time, but then we watched that movie and it was just mind-blowing to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. See, I guess a lot of people mention this for being Jim Carrey's one of his best performances because it's probably because it's dialed back but I've heard about this movie, but when I finally watched it, I was like,
Yeah, I understand that. I've been there before. So, what's something actual that you didn't like about it, though?
Okay, I think the biggest thing I don't like Truman.
The character?
I don't find Truman interesting.
I think that's the purpose of it. That's his name, True Man. That's why they named him Truman.
Yeah.
Is because he was supposed to be the ultimate every man.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's a cool fact, Cade.
Well, I didn't know that was a fact. I just, it's literally in the name.
Yeah, but on top of that, you have to understand this society that he's growing up in, because he is literally wants to be this explorer, he wants to do all these things in the world, and obviously with his living situations they won't let him do that. So you kind of see that he wants to be an interesting character, but he's been so shut in that's kind of just how he is, and the little outbursts in the middle of the movie are exactly what makes that genius, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, because it is like a normal person going crazy about all of these weird things happening and nobody telling him the truth. And I think that's and which leads me to my main point, but I'm going to save my main point to the end of the argument.
All right.
Because
see, okay, well, I don't hate the whole movie. I like the concept a lot.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept.
I like the commentary on mankind a lot. How this is because this became before reality TV was really a thing, and it kind of saw it coming. How we just like watching people be people.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Kind of.
And kind of how you just said how he's just a true man. There's nothing too interesting about him.
Nothing special about him. He's just a person.
But everyone's obsessed with him. I think that's interesting, concept wise. But watching it, I wasn't I'm not the biggest fan.
It just sucked me in really bad. The whole concept, the whole world has really just sucked me in. And I really, One of the things that I think is really strong about the movie is the fact that it cuts to just regular watchers, you know?
Yeah,
it cuts to just the people watching the show, and I think that's awesome. Because it's just people talking about their favorite show, you know, and it was a really clever way, I think, to explain more about his backstory and more of the universe. Because it's just people talking about a show. I thought that was a really clever expositional thing they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that point.
Well, I guess I will say I think my favorite moment is the very, very ending. Just like how everyone is watching this big climactic escape. And then the very last line...
The last scene with the security guards.
Security guards. All right, what else is on? Yeah, where's the TV guy? That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a brilliant line, because that's how people are. Yeah. They're like, neat.
Next
thing.
Yeah, next show. Exactly.
That was great. I did notice a few things I didn't like rewatching it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I kind of liked it more this time, rewatching it.
Yeah, I mean... Like, I just watched it more critically this time, so there were just a couple things that bugged me. Nothing major. One big thing was, like, the placement of the giant dome is, like, right in the middle of L.A., right behind the Hollywood sign. And for some reason, that bugs me really bad, because, like, how would you even build that there? Like, it's, like, the size of a city, like, inside of L.A.,
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, there's plenty of room, open space in California to build it. Anyway, that's just one, logistical thing that really bugged me.
Yeah. Huh. See,
and, I mean, how much would that cost, too? I mean,
yeah, so much money.
I mean, I get the entire world watches this, and I guess maybe you could make up that revenue his entire life, but when you initially had the idea for this show, not knowing it was going to work...
But that'd be easier to contain, like, a kid. But, yeah, you'd still have to build the whole thing.
I mean, to be fair, there's a scene where Truman's a little kid, and he's, like, about to climb over this thing of rocks at the beach, and they're all like, no, you can't go over there, and you can hear them building the set still, so maybe it was a smaller thing
that grew.
Oh, yeah,
I think
I had that thought, actually, that it got built since then, because they even say that they got more money as it's showing on. Mm-hmm. I don't know how people wanted to watch a baby, though, at the beginning.
Yeah, just a baby chilling.
Yeah, it's like, it's just a baby doing baby things.
But... I mean, it's interesting, though. I think... I don't know. I just love the movie. I love the whole concept. The other thing that bugged me rewatching it was the fact that they built up the dad being a really big thing, you know? Yeah. And then like, and it was a really good moment when the dad snuck back onto the show and saw Truman.
Yeah. And
then was taken away abruptly. I think that was great. But then when they brought him back and rewrote him into the show, I noticed this time that they really didn't do anything with that. They like had a nice moment where he was back. But after that, they really didn't
just kind
do
of
anything.
It away.
Yeah, they just kind of ignored it the rest of the movie, and I thought that was kind of dumb. They should have had more stuff with the dad. I would have liked the dad to be like, "Hey, Truman, this isn't real." like an actual, like him actually telling Truman.
For a little bit,
but still,
when he returns, Truman's it's kind of like his reason to stay a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it also just kind of gets dropped really fast.
Yeah, and those are really the only two things that I didn't like about it, watching it again. Because like I said, I love the whole concept. I think Jim Carrey, like, performs really well.
Mm-hmm. I guess for the dad concept at the end, I guess you could say that even though structurally it doesn't look that good, I guess you could say it's the moment where these TV executives basically tried to trick him again into staying, and he sees through it this time.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, you know, like, again, like you were saying, it kind of writes off his character, you know, the father, as just like, oh, it was important, but it's not anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, again, it doesn't look good, but story-wise probably does make sense that, like, this time he's seeing through the fact that they're lying to him.
Yeah.
And I do love that. I love the fact that Truman, like, overcomes his fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end. Wonderful. Like, that was one of the best, because like, he knows that they wouldn't, that would be the last place they would look for him, because he was so afraid of water.
That whole ending is so good. And as I'm thinking about things, there's a lot of things I really do like Like how when like the radio makes the screechy sound, everyone in the entire like area just like reacts to like this thing in their ear that's hurting them. Like things like that. Like everyone freezes or
cues and everything. Yeah,
there's a lot to like, but I just
was bored.
Well, not just bored. My other biggest complaint is that I don't feel like we have time to really enjoy the world that he is.
Makes sense.
To be, because right away the light falls down and he's like questioning everything, and we see the flashback when they're all adults in high school.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind. That's whatever.
That's the way movies work.
Yeah, but like then she kind of hints that it's not real. But then we never saw a time where Truman
was just being Truman.
Was like, how did this work around him? Because he's always questioning it from the very beginning. So I guess that's kind of like...
Yeah, I could see that.
It's not what I thought I wanted, but...
Kind of like a trick at the beginning for the audience. Like seeing like, oh, this is just a normal world. And
Something
then maybe
like
5 minutes in, then the light falls and you go... Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
this is
like,
weird.
Don't break the illusion. Yeah, I would agree that would be a better beginning with having Truman, and just starting with Truman in his everyday life and not the audience not knowing it's a show until like 2 or 3 minutes in. That would be really cool instead of us initially just breaking it.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
behind that point.
But there is a lot to love. Like even the camera with like it looks like it's just in something.
Oh, in the dashboard.
Like that.
Yeah. The secret cams. You could tell they're secret cams. Those are really cool.
They're kind of like fish-eyed.
Yeah.
So you can tell they're trying to hide them in certain ways and.
There was a lot of good attention to detail with that sort of thing. I also like how it's like a big riff on actual like production of movies and things like. I want to get to Ed Harris's character soon because like I have a lot to talk about his character. He wasn't in it much, but like there's just so much about Ed Harris, and Christoph, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's my other favorite character because in essence, Truman and Christoph are two sides of the same coin.
Really?
Yeah, like I would say that Christoph is the main antagonist of the movie, and they are. On opposite sides of the coin, and I don't know, I love it so much. I love when they're talking at the end and Truman's like, you don't know what's in my head.
Oh, that's another great line. You'd never had a camera in my head. Yeah. That's
and
great.
because Christoph thinks he knows Truman so well, and at like the same time he parallels Truman so much because like when he's on for an interview, like an exclusive interview with the TV, they explicitly say how much he likes his privacy, and I thought that was a really
I didn't catch that
really interesting minor thing that they threw in, that like he's a very private person. He doesn't like people watching him, and yet he's doing this to this man.
You're right. Okay, but something I did catch, I don't want to seem like jumping around a lot, but...
No, it's okay.
In that interview, he says that they're going to introduce a new love interest.
Yeah.
But, like, he says something, I tweeted about it, because, like, what the heck? They said, like, we're going to show, like, conception for the first time on live TV.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, did Truman and his wife never do it?
The same security guard that delivers the final line, he's he talks about how, like, they never show anything. They just pan to the window.
Oh, I missed that.
The wind blows and the curtains move. You never see anything.
So they did explain that, like, there's nothing explicit on the show.
What the heck?
But, yes, it does happen.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like it's a really clever movie. It's a really intriguing movie with a very impactful point, in my opinion.
I guess with the Christoph thing, something I also liked because he's a great character. And fun fact, I saw this movie after I watched a movie I know you don't like, which we'll talk someday, Snowpiercer.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's in that one, too. I'm like, hey, the guy from Snowpiercer. That was my reaction the first time I watched it. Now I know, like, Ed Harris, he's like in all these things.
I didn't know he was in Snowpiercer. I don't remember him in Snowpiercer.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a Captain America Winter Train. That's That's basically what it is. It's Chris Evans on like a dystopia train in the middle of winter.
Yeah, an endless winter.
I freaking hated it. Anyway, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, later. That's a great... Anyway.
Yeah.
But Ed Harris, the moment when he's talking at the end, and like there's a shot, you see the sun, and his like voice is God. Echoing like he's God. Yeah. Because he's like, he believes he's the God of like...
Of Truman.
He's the master of Truman's world.
I think that concept's good.
And that brings me to my main point. I wanted to say, but this is a good segue. That brings me to my main point why I love the movie so much is because Truman and Christoph both live in a fantasy world.
Oh.
Christoph...
Good hot take.
Christoph believes he's in control, and he's not. He doesn't control Truman's free will, which is what he wants. He wants to control Truman's free will because he made all of this for Truman. He wanted to control Truman. But Truman won't be controlled like that. He won't be manipulated anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing is at the end of the movie, both Christoph and Truman's realities are shattered. Mm-hmm. Because, Truman had this whole world built for him, even though, it was fake. Mm-hmm. And Christoph built that world believing it was perfect and believing that that Truman deserved to be there ignorantly. Mm-hmm. And that was the best thing for him. And they were both... And he was wrong. Christoph was wrong.
Even as he's walking out the door, he's still like, just stay, basically.
Yeah. He's like, just turn around and go back. Yeah. And again, which brings me to my final point, is that everyone lives in a fantasy world. And I think that's such a great thing that there's, we all live in a fantasy to some extent.
Yeah, to an extent, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody's perception of the world is different. Everybody has preconceptions that are just untrue and false. And I think that's what's so great about the movie is about... Because to me, it's about coming to terms with those falsities of reality that we believe are true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, okay, that's a really good point. I like that point a lot. I guess in my mind, there's so much to praise, but I think Truman is my biggest problem. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Besides the music, I'm not a big fan of the music.
Yeah,
the music. Really? I was actually gonna make that point that the music. I think the music's fantastic.
Yeah, I like the ending when he's sailing. Yeah, that whole sequence. I like that music, but the other, I kind of found it annoying.
For me, the music was hit or miss. Sometimes it just didn't feel. Sometimes it felt a little out of place. Not necessarily that it didn't work, but it was just out of place. Which scene? Like the scene where he takes what's her face to the beach when they're teenagers, adult teenagers.
Yeah. College.
College age. I felt like that was a little.
Well, see, that's something that they did throughout the movie that I actually enjoyed, is they played this classical music that, like, you'd hear at, like, the dentist or something, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Because, like, if you think about it, that type of music in a world that's trying to keep you, like, kind of locked in one place, kind of like when you're sitting in, like, a dentist chair, you kind of, like, hold still the whole time, and you're not really supposed to move or anything, and... I mean, there's a song they play in the movie, I can't remember where, but I heard the exact same song at the dentist. I kid you not. And the whole time I was like, oh, this is from the Truman Show. Because it's supposed to make you all calm and everything. Because, if Truman's not calm, that's like the quicker he's going to start freaking out like he does in the film.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I really wish we would have seen in the movie, but I'm torn because I'm really glad they ended the movie where they did, with him just walking through the door. That's honestly the best place they could have ended it. But I really wanted to see him confront his mom, confront his dad, confront
like his acting,
his wife. Yeah, the actors, all the actors, and his best friend.
Oh yeah,
like I really wanted to see him confront especially his best friend, who's like sitting there. I would never lie to you.
I know,
and he did. He blatantly lied to his face all of his life.
We know that the audience, but
and then Truman knows that now. But I wanted to see them confront.
That's actually where I would disagree. I think during that conversation, I think Truman had his suspicions, and then when he...
No, I agree. And I just would have liked to see him.
And then when he says, oh, if everyone's a part of it, then I would have to be too. I think right in that moment he went, you are a part
exactly.
of it, And I think that's why he doesn't confront him. I think from then on he was like,
yeah,
this is all fake. I have to find out what's happening.
Right.
Well, I guess not confront, but like I would like to see a scene where they're like sitting down talking to each other outside of the studio.
In the Truman Show too.
But you see, I don't want a Truman Show too. That's not the sequel I want.
Do not do that. That would be awful.
Oh, man. But no, I'd just like to see a conversation had between Truman and the actors. I mean, and there's nowhere to put it, and there's no like reason to make more Truman, but you know, that's just something at the end of the movie I really wanted to see, is him talk to his best friend after the fact, and as well as his mom or even his ex-wife at that point. Which I really loved her character too, just because I loved the product placement stuff.
That stuff is great.
That was hilarious.
That's funny, because that's just every day. You know, you see advertising in everything, so it just made sense.
But I loved it, and I was like, Truman's like, "What are you even talking about?"
Yeah.
Okay, but here's what I thought I had about that, and I know if it's not too hard to like find all the plot holes in this movie, you know, I bet it'd be easy to take apart if you really tried. But why didn't they construct his world where people talking like that was normal? Or why did they even teach him about Fiji? Or, I mean, I don't want to I
don't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying,
okay.
I don't want to like seem like, oh, this is a plot hole because of this, because it makes sense either way. But I'm like, why didn't they just not teach him about outside world, you know?
Well, I was thinking about that too. But to an extent, I think you'd have to make it relatable to people.
Yeah.
Like, he'd have to learn about the real world to not put people off of the show.
Oh, I see.
If that makes sense. Because it's made for entertainment. If they just made him a whole fantasy world where, like, nothing at all was real, then, like, nothing he learned in school was real and all that kind of stuff.
Then it wouldn't be a reality show at that point. It would be a narrative.
Exactly. I still believe that Truman Show is a science fiction movie. That's where I classify it. But it's weird. It's weird to think of it as a science fiction movie.
But I just had that thought.
That's interesting. I wonder, like, for me it's a psychological thing, but but obviously not a thriller. Like, what would that even be?
Like a psychological drama?
Psychological drama is what I would say it is.
But I stash it in science fiction just because of the construction of the whole town. And, like, we'd never get to the point where we'd allow someone to live a lie like that on TV. Like, America would never allow that.
Yeah, that's kind of
the legal system would never allow
that's just the unrealistic part that you have to accept going into it.
Yeah, and I'm cool with suspending my belief that way, but that's why I classify it as a science fiction. One, building that giant island dome thing, and two, the fact that a child was adopted by a corporation.
See,
it's very Blade Runner.
Yeah, we'll compare this and Blade Runner.
See, what if just that's how Truman was raised? He just used to people saying the full names of products and like their best qualities. Man, I just hate how Quaker Oats tastes so good, like, or whatever. He was just used to saying that.
Yeah, just long, drawn out explanations.
Like, even he would say it like that.
Well, I think there's a lot of times where he didn't even bat an eye to it.
Oh yeah.
But like when he was in the middle of that like where he was trying to have a deep conversation with his wife, and she was like,
and she
"Hey, enjoy some cocoa."
Him.
And I think that's why he freaked out at that moment. But I do think that there is an element of there's all these products and product placements throughout the world, and he just doesn't notice. He doesn't care, but he doesn't really react to them.
And see, that makes me think of something the movie obviously doesn't touch on, is after all of this, when he finally gets out, Truman in the real world would still be famous.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Insanely
What's he gonna do?
famous.
And so, he'd be extremely famous. Two, there's a part during Christoph's interview where they talk about the set dressing and everything, and like all the clothes the actors wear, that you can buy those clothes.
I like that concept.
So it's almost like when Truman finally escapes this place, is he going into a different world? Because he's already going to be famous. He's going to be known for something.
Completely famous.
Like that.
And he could go back and watch his life.
Oh my god.
Exactly. And then two, He's going to run into people wearing the exact same clothing products.
And he's going to be mobbed by people.
Exactly. So is he really going to live a normal life?
No. But he'll live a more accurate life, which is what he was after.
This is why we need the Truman Show too.
But I don't think that there's a reason. There's no reason. These are the implications.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. And I like I said, they ended it in the best possible place they could have. I don't think they should have gone on at all, because it does leave you wanting more. It makes you want to see where Truman's going, what he's gonna do, like his reunion with Sylvia and confrontation with his family, all the actors, and I don't know. It's just it's interesting.
So another thing I liked is when he's sailing, Ed Harris's character's like, oh, that's our hero shot.
Yeah.
But then the storm happens, and then like he's like in the same position. And he's just looking. He looks kind of beat because the storm just happened, and then like that's the true hero shot right there.
Yeah.
Like right after that, when like he's proven himself kind of physically now that he is.
When the storm leaves.
Yeah, that he's so willing to leave. He's willing to do anything to escape. And he just that's when like the music. I would say that whole sequence of music's really great.
That's true.
And like that's the true hero shot, like the true Truman right there.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's awesome.
Again, proving Christoph literally doesn't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know Truman. And this is just a thought I had after the movie is like, man, lawyers would be clamoring at Truman after this. He could sue the crap out of the whole thing. And like even at the end, they literally the Christoph almost kills him. Like he legitimately almost kills him, almost drowns him to death.
Just for the sake of his
creativity,
exactly.
Yeah, like ownership he wants to
and I think that's
control.
his control. And I think that's another great point about Christoph is he cannot differentiate his love for Truman from the love of his creation, of his show, because he's a writer, and as a writer, and Chase knows this, and Ryan, you know this, you get really attached to your work. They are your children, and so Christoph sees Truman as his child, and not only as a person that he helped adopt and helped raise, but also as his work of fiction, his character. He has the same love for his character as, and I think that's where he gets confused. I don't think he can't differentiate the love between loving a person and loving a character.
See, that's really interesting.
So he's really attached to his character, Truman.
Okay, so I just want to bring up that Paul Giamatti is in this movie.
Yeah, he's the editor, dude.
He doesn't even have a name on IMDb. Control room director. I'm like, Paul Giamatti is in this?
Yeah,
in such a small part.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
No, there were a lot of little things. Like, have you've seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah.
The security guard is Scully.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
There's a lot of little roles in there.
I don't know. He actually does have one major part in it, and it's at the increase the wind. We want this.
We'll kill him.
He refuses.
I liked that
awesome.
a lot about his character.
Doesn't even get a name.
Even the mighty Christoph of all of this Truman Show, he's like, no, I am not going to kill this man.
And that was great. Another little thing. This is just a little tiny thing that I really liked, but it was a major thing for Truman too. Was the fact that he went when he was trying to drive away and the police officer was talking about and he's like, thanks officer, and the guy's like, no problem, Truman.
Oh yeah.
and he's like, what?
Yeah, he's like,
how does he know my name? And I thought that was a brilliant piece too, because that's what you would if you were an extra on the show. You would.
You know him?
I mean, you know that somebody would have slipped up.
That guy got fired.
That's true.
Like that.
Immediately. He was immediately fired.
So, okay, before my final thoughts, I guess, how come, if they were watching him make the collage of the face, how come they didn't try to stop that? You know what I mean?
I think that they just didn't want to interfere too much. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I think they just didn't want to...
That and viewers,
be too
I think.
blatant,
Because if there's a love interest, but there's a complicated little triangle, even with the character
same
not
reason
there.
with the flashback.
Yeah, because
exactly.
they talked about, this one I have it on the best hits or something.
Exactly.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I will say I do like it a little bit more because of like some things comparing Christoph and Truman. But I don't know. I just
what do you think about the actual cinematography, like how it was shot?
See, I think
it was cool.
Yeah,
that wasn't a question directed at me.
Everybody.
I think it's good because it does something no other movie does, which is like the spy cam cameras, where like the fisheye look. You can even see some like things on the corners, so it looks like it's behind something. Or
they could tell. You could tell they tried.
It's unique that way, and I think that works for it.
Yeah, because there's a shot in that movie, and I laugh every time I see it, but it's like kind of creative. And it's when Truman's like walking out on that pier, and the camera inside the little shack or whatever tries to follow him, and as it turns, the blinds open, so you can see out the blinds at him.
Huh.
So it was, I don't know, I laugh every time I see that, just because I'm like, oh my gosh, really?
There was only one shot that I like caught that didn't feel genuine, and that's only because we were in cinematography. They did a zoom lens, and they zoomed in on them and like cut to a different camera, and then cut back to that one. But you could tell by the focal fields and the way it was that it was an actual camera. It wasn't a zoom lens. It was a normal camera lens.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they tried to cheat it, which I think it works fine, but just because we're in film school, you
notice those things.
You do. So final thoughts on Truman Show.
It's good. I think people should watch this movie. I guess I'm just not at the same level of loving as most people are.
That makes sense.
There's a lot to like.
Definitely a good movie. I have to say, especially Jim Carrey's performance, because obviously Jim Carrey's known by far for his comedy, but at the same time, the thing I love about Jim Carrey, there's a movie called The Majestic. Do you know what that is?
I don't think I've heard of that one.
Does he lose his memory?
Yes.
Okay, I've only read the back of the DVD, I think.
It is a very superb film, very well made, and it's actually one of his more serious roles, and that's the thing I
like
love.
The serious stuff.
And that's what's great about Jim Carrey, is even though he's like known for his comedy, like completely, he plays these serious roles that are just absolutely incredible. And I thought the Truman Show was like best of both worlds with his performances.
I agree, because when he was over the top, it was hilarious.
Called for.
It was hilarious.
And like it seems like it's like trying to seep through like the cracks, like his crazy side, because he's really straight faced throughout the whole movie. But then sometimes like stick his tongue out when he's like driving in the circle or whatnot. Like his craziness kind of seeps out.
That's true.
Anyway.
All right, my final thoughts. Again, my main point is I feel like it's a great movie because of the fact that it's about people living in a fantasy world and coming to terms with that, and like pursuing truth and coming to terms with the fact that some aspects of our lives may be fantasy that we've not somebody else has created for us, but we've created for ourselves. And I think that's what really makes The Truman Show a great movie.
Have you ever heard, it's kind of on the same, of the movie Ed TV? The thing is, it came out, I think, a year after Truman Show, but the concepts are super similar. Like, they didn't know about it or anything. It's kind of like one of those things.
Oh, it just sort of happens, movies,
where, like, a guy who just, a film crew, films his life for a TV show. Like, that's the concept of Ed TV. It's just not as popular, even though it's like a Ron Howard film and Matthew McConaughey's in it.
Okay, so is it like, instead of building a thing, it's just like people spying on him with cameras?
I think they follow him everywhere. Because it was still...
Does he know about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen it either. I just know...
Maybe we'll have to watch that and review it.
Yeah, people kind of bring it up when like they talk about when somehow like two movies that are so similar come out like...
At the same time.
Yeah,
that happens
a lot.
That's
just one of... That gets brought up. But I don't think it's as good or as well liked as Truman Show.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some movie news. First of all, Ryan, why don't you go ahead and pull up the new Sonic picture?
Oh, yes.
And we can talk a little bit about that. I don't think there's a trailer out for...
Have you not seen this yet?
He hasn't seen it yet.
I haven't seen this yet.
Say everything that your mind thinks of when I...
Live action Sonic. Just describe what you're seeing.
Okay.
Wait, have you played Sonic?
I never owned any of the games, but I've seen them played. I get what it is.
Okay, so As far as I'm concerned, this is a leaked image. It was on some sort of product that got released, so it's not officially released, but it is part of it.
Okay.
That
is the one I've seen. Yeah.
This is it.
Right, here you go, Chase. What do you think?
That's actually not bad.
See,
I don't mind that.
I don't see how it's live action though right now.
I think there's been a very blurry line with that lately because everyone's like, "Oh, look, the live action Lion King is coming
live
out."
action.
It's CGI.
It is CGI.
Yeah,
it is not live action.
Yeah, they had what is it?
The Jungle Book is live action.
It's
when
almost
you have
live
a person.
action.
It's borderline, but.
Well, no, you got like Seth Rogen out there taming a pig.
Very, very, very.
That's what that is, right?
Very blurry. Very blurry.
Yeah, we've blurred the lines between it, but I will never accept that as animation, like the Lion King, or I will never accept it as live action because that's just hyper realistic animation. That's all it is.
CGI Lion King.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I mean. The new Jungle Book barely gets past my radar on that. Like, as one human actor, I'll be like, all right, it's like a reverse Roger Rabbit.
Okay, but the thing about Lion King, though, is all we have is the teaser trailer, but the music's so good. I'm like...
Well, it's the same music.
I know, the music's just good. I was like, am I just excited to see it because the music I just love?
I think you're just having a nostalgia attack.
Yeah.
See, I think that's what they're hoping to make money off of with these, because I personally am not at all for all these remakes.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Just because everyone's going to go back to the classics.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course.
If you want to watch The Lion King, you watch The Lion King. You know what I'm talking about? Like.
See, well, when I was in high school, I had the idea they should make Beauty and the Beast a live action because I thought the Beast looked so cool.
But he didn't.
Yeah, in the movie that we got live action, he
looks dumb.
Nothing. But if they would have made him more like the cartoon version, it'd have looked cooler. That's true. But
there is a live action Beauty and the Beast with like a guy in an actual suit and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I heard it wasn't that special. So.
Okay. So, question for both of you.
Okay.
What Disney cartoon would you like to see a remake of that they have not talked about?
Atlantis.
Okay, that's one of my top ones too. I have like a top 3. That's at the top. Yeah, I'd love to do an Atlantis.
More unheard of as far as the name Disney goes, but the Black Cauldron.
No, that's my other one.
Really?
You guys took my 2.
There you go.
Those are the 2 I wanted.
I would love to see that remade.
The other
into an amazing movie.
So you guys took my 2. My third one was the Sword in the Stone.
Yeah?
That was my other one I'd like to see it made into a live action.
Rewatching that a few years ago now, since I was a kid, there's not a lot in that movie.
Yeah, there's not a lot that goes on.
Yeah.
But they could make it a really cool one.
Yeah, if they make it...
But yeah, I mean, like, imagine with what we have now, recreating the Horned King.
Oh yeah!
Oh my gosh!
That would be so.
Oh my gosh! Have
really
like
cool stuff.
Have like someone like Jeremy Irons or something like that do the voice and everything. Like it would be top notch in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Those are based on like a book series.
Yeah, there's a whole series of books. I've never read them. They're actually my brother's favorite book series. He loves the Black Cauldron.
Did he like the cartoon?
Yeah, he loves the cartoon too. And I think I've only seen the cartoon. I love the cartoon. It's awesome. I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, we kind of talked about it off mic right beforehand, but the genie.
Oh man! the Will Smith nightmares?
All
the Fresh Prince or the Fresh Street Rat of Bel-Air. That's what we're calling it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Here's my thing. I honestly don't think the genie itself looked as bad as people say.
It was the uncanny valley on him. Yeah. I don't understand why they made him completely CGI.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
I think he's going to be human form for a lot of the movie.
Yeah, they did say that he's going to be human a lot of it, but still.
But my biggest problem is the rest of the trailer was kind of underwhelming. Like the Prince Ali.
Into the thing.
Yeah, exactly that.
Freaking Jafar. That nothing against the actor, but he was miscast hard. in my opinion.
You can
we'll have to see how he does in the movie.
There's the Prince Ali parade that's going on.
I don't even remember it.
It doesn't... I don't know. We only saw a couple seconds, but it looked like a play production of it.
Will Smith was the only thing etched into my memory.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, again, I'm not on the remake boat. And the minute I saw the Aladdin trailer, I was like, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no hopes for that.
It's Guy Ritchie, right? Directing?
I don't even know.
And
I don't remember.
I think it is. And he just did the not Robin Hood, King Arthur movie that bombed hard.
Oh, the really crappy one about the kids? The kid...
No, the King Arthur one...
not that recent.
With Jude Law was the evil king.
I remember.
Yeah, I know what
There's
you're
a lot of
talking
things
about.
that looked cool, but it just was kind of...
Crappy?
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, man. The only, Disney remake I have any interest in, and it's only morbid curiosity, is the Dumbo remake because it's Tim Burton, Danny DeVito, Michael Keaton. I'm curious as to what's gonna happen.
Well, see, that's...
And the pink elephant scene.
Well, that's the thing. Disney even announced, because I remember when Pete's Dragon came out, there's different tiers of Disney cartoons. For sure. If, the things like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and, Lion King, you can't change them because they're so beloved. But things like Pete's Dragon and Dumbo, the directors can change more because they're not as loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see what you mean there.
I'd actually love to make, a really crappy Disney movie. One of my goals as a director is going to be to take one of the crappiest movies I've ever seen and remake it into something cool.
Like what?
Like Yar.
Yar?
Oh my gosh, that's a horrible movie. I don't know, just some crappy 80s sci-fi. I really want to remake something and make it great.
Make a sequel all these years.
Oh, yeah, a sequel. Just a fantastic sequel. That'd be great. I'd love to do that. Yeah,
so Guy Ritchie is directing Aladdin, and his last two movies was The King Arthur, and then The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I never saw that, but I probably should, because I love spy movies. I grew up on the old James Bond movies. So
see, there's a lot of good things that look great in those movies.
Have you seen Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
Yeah, I think there's only maybe one or two scenes that are really good that sometimes I actually go back and rewatch. The boat scene, but you haven't seen it. But
I haven't seen that movie.
It's so good.
I'm actually not huge on spy movies.
My worry with seeing that movie is because I've seen episodes of the old TV show and everything. I think it's wonderful. It has some very good actors, old actors.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just worried that whenever they make a movie out of an old TV show, it's just not gonna stick up to the original.
I don't know. Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
there's the outlier.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing, is even compared to the original Mission Impossible TV show versus the movies, very different.
That's true.
Honestly, and that's honestly how you should do it. You should make it your own in a certain way.
Speaking of old TV shows, I'm actually pretty excited for Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah, me too.
That looks really cool. I know nothing about it other than that one trailer, but I'm really excited for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we did watch a few trailers for this podcast.
Yeah, let's go over a couple of the trailers we watched.
First one, Tolkien. The second trailer just came out.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You got your joke in.
I did.
This looks like a movie that looks good, but I don't think I'll see it in theaters, and then I'll put off watching it for a long time.
I think I'm gonna try to prioritize this one because this trailer did it for me. It made me excited enough to want to watch it. My only concern is gonna be how accurate it is. I have no idea how accurate it's going to be. I've studied a lot of C.S. Lewis's life. Yeah. Not as much Tolkien's life. I love Tolkien. But C.S. Lewis is my favorite author, and so I studied his life a lot. And Tolkien is really an integral part of Lewis's life. He actually was a big part in converting C.S. Lewis to Christianity. Yeah, C.S. Lewis was a hardcore atheist.
Really?
Yeah, for a really long time. And Tolkien was one of the major influences in his life to become a Christian. And I think that was amazing. And we wouldn't have Chronicles of Narnia without Tolkien. So I always loved and respect Tolkien. And of course, Lord of the Rings is amazing. And I'm pretty excited to see this movie, honestly.
Yeah, I'll probably eventually see it. I again, like you, probably won't see it in the theaters. Yeah. I think it has potential, definitely, after seeing this trailer. But, again, I was elaborating before we started. I think if they try to make this too much of a love story, it's gonna bomb. It needs to be more about Tolkien himself than a cheesy little love story.
I'm excited for it, though. I think it looks good. It's interesting. Yeah, it looks interesting enough that I'm down for it. I like the elements of fantasy they mixed into the reality. Like, they kind of made an evil face in the middle of the fire during the World War I battle.
Well, the thing is, he got a lot of inspiration because of the horrors he saw on the battlefield. So I like
of course,
to show like the fantasy things. Right there.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be being I'm a World War I reenactor. Veteran. No, I would be long gone.
It's your 100th and 20th birthday.
But no, I reenact the First World War. We usually go, me and my friends, down to California, and we literally, with tiny little shovels, trench shovels, we dig all the trenches, and we set up all the barbed wire and everything. Really? And that's awesome. We wear like very time period stuff, and honestly, it looks good, the war scenes in it, and it definitely looks fascinating how they incorporate these like fantasy creatures within this war environment. So that definitely is worth seeing.
I'm highly optimistic for Tolkien. Now moving on to the other trailer, one of the other trailers we watched. Let's talk about Brightburn. What did you guys think about Brightburn?
I mean,
evil Superman kid.
Yeah,
I'm down for the movie. I think I'm gonna be grossed out a lot during it, but there's also some kind of comedic moments because it's just a little over the top in the trailer.
I think the concept is right there. Like, what if
Superman was a dick as a kid? What if Superman was a douchey kid? Yeah, that's.
But I don't know.
It's like what if our high school or it's like what if our grade school nemesis was Superman, you know?
I think I want to see it just because of the concept, but I don't know.
And James Gunn, like I have faith in his writing.
I just don't know how much I think it looks good. I think it's not quite. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say that I like this trailer better than the first one.
Me too.
I think that this trailer sucked me in more. He's got a neat look, like the weird mask thing he wears with the cape. That's terrifying.
And skinny arms, too.
Yeah.
And in that shot where she's, like, under the bed and you kind of see him, like, walking in the doorway. That was a fantastic shot.
That was a great shot. It looks terrifying. Like, this little dweeb with powers.
I think what my problem with this is the concept that he basically becomes this very evil being. My problem with it is he's just a kid.
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying that doesn't work in movies. I mean, my favorite horror film is John Carpenter's Halloween.
Fantastic.
The very beginning of the movie, a very evil kid.
Yeah.
And but even then, even in this, it's like, if a kid really had such powers like that and, you know, accidentally started hurting people, I don't think it would cause him to turn into this evil being that's trying to destroy things, you know?
See, what I think of it is, it's kind of, to me, a mixture of two movies.
Chronicle.
It's like Chronicle, I feel like it has a lot of influence from Chronicle because it's the kid in that movie like sees himself as better than normal people.
Exactly. If he was older.
That's a little bit like that, but at the same time, it's given me a lot of flashbacks to a movie I really liked when I was a teenager called Bad Seed. It's an old 50s movie about a like 10-year-old girl that kills people.
Oh wow.
And I think that's what they're going for is like a kind of a psychopath kid.
Yeah.
That doesn't care that what he's doing is wrong, and he thinks that he can do what he wants because he has the capability of it. And I think that's an interesting take on the movie. I would like to see this movie where the kid wasn't necessarily evil like this kid is, like a bad seed, I'd like to see it more as a normal kid, because Clark Kent, he's a good kid. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
I would like to see the middle ground kid, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, I don't know. We'll see how it... I'll definitely see it eventually.
Yeah, I'll see it too.
Maybe.
I'll watch it at some point. I have faith in its writing, for sure. And it's an interesting concept. I want to see it mostly just for the concept.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
there's some really good shots in it. Some really creepy stuff going on.
Yeah. And I guess if they elaborate on his background a little more, because obviously he flies out of the sky from outer space, very much like Superman does,
basically.
And that's the good thing about Superman, is it kind of, in the story with Superman, he figures out his background, and then you understand, and then you go, okay, that's Superman. Let's watch Superman do stuff now. Whereas in this movie, if they don't even bother to explain even the slightest of where he comes from, then maybe I could see him being an evil kid.
Yeah,
but just because he's a mystery to us.
I think they can explain some background and have him I think they can explain his character well enough. I have faith that the movie itself will explain the character well enough that this problem won't be a problem through the rest of the movie.
See, I guess when you see all the other kids pushing him around, first of all, kids don't.
I think that was a trust exercise.
That was a poor shot, in my opinion.
It was a poor shot.
I'm
very poor.
But unless he's he thinks he's better than humans. And that's why he's doing it. He doesn't care about humans. Then I don't know.
I think he's bullied. He's obviously portrayed to be bullied a lot, and so he's lashing out. That's what I would want to see though. Is this kid for this the first trailer made it look like he's a kid who's attacking the people he would perceive as villains.
Oh, yeah.
Teachers, other kids, things like that. That's he perceives them as villains. And that could still happen in the movie, but this trailer portrayed him out to be more of, he just wants to
evil.
be an overlord.
Or that he eventually reaches that point, which is where I would draw the line with it.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just my humanizing the character who is an alien.
I don't know. Well, I mean, people literally humanize anything. That's the beauty of story.
That's what you do. That's what you do.
So then we watched Shazam.
Shazam!
The new trailer for Shazam.
I'm down for it. I'm excited.
I don't know. It looks like any other superhero movie to me. So I don't have strong opinions, but I probably won't see it.
I think I'm comparing it in my mind with Aquaman. I wasn't necessarily excited for Aquaman, but I saw it and I kind of liked it because it's ridiculous. I think this is trying to go full steam of
ridiculous. Fun.
Yeah.
I never saw that one.
Oh, really?
I think Aquaman was, I don't know, it was a mixed bag for me.
Yeah.
I think I'll give Shazam a shot because I've always been fascinated with Captain Marvel as a character. This Captain Marvel, there are two.
Yeah,
and we should go over the history of Captain Marvel sometime. It is insane. Of both characters.
It seems like they're gonna call him Shazam though. Because the guy's say my name, Shazam.
But that's always been the wizard that gave him the power. That's always been his name.
Oh, really?
And that's so.
Because I know
I'm not a huge comic book person with Shazam, but I've read enough comics. I've seen enough stuff with Captain Marvel in it to know that he doesn't usually go by Shazam, but the name of the wizard is Shazam, and that's why when he says Shazam, he gets the powers of the wizard.
Yeah, because Shazam is originally it was an acronym.
Yeah, it's an acronym for the gods, the Greek gods.
The wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, or then there's Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury.
Yeah, speed of Achilles, or speed of Mercury, and power of Zeus.
That's pretty creative. I like that. That's cool.
But now Marvel's Captain Marvel is coming out right now.
Today.
Today, at the day of recording.
I'm actually going to go see that
You're
tonight.
seeing it tonight.
You're going to see it Saturday?
I think Saturday.
And then we're actually going to be talking about it next time. Next time, we're not going to talk about it with each other until we sit down and record. So look forward to that next week. It won't be a proper movie fight or debate.
Second balcony.
Yeah, it won't be a proper second balcony debate, but it will be interesting to see what Ryan thinks and to see what I think. But everybody, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm
how
excited
I feel about
because it's the step before Endgame, which comes out next month.
I feel like it's homework to get to Endgame. It's like, here, go do your homework. Go see what happened in the 90s.
I'll give you a cheat sheet. Spider-Man comes back.
Yeah, they definitely should have held off on the Spider-Man trailer, in my opinion. But yeah, both Captain Marvels. I think it's fascinating them coming, with how crazy the history of Captain Marvel, both from Marvel and DC, is. The fact that they both get movies a month apart from each other is just astonishing to me. Mm-hmm. And
almost like it was planned.
Yeah, it's weird.
Strange.
It's weird. I am excited for Shazam, though. I think that it'll be a fun movie. I hope that it does well. I hope that it's good.
Well, what I think of when
all I can do.
The first trailer came out last year, I saw a meme. It was taken from Ant-Man. It was like DC was Paul Rudd, and he gave like the bunny to the daughter, but the bunny said Shazam, and she's like, it looks so dumb. I love it. That's pretty accurate, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's about all the time we have for you today. Thanks for joining in our podcast.
See, I just have to feel like when going back to Truman Show, it's like, I feel like my debate side was just like, well, I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it as much as I thought I was supposed to.
And that's fine. I think that's fine to just discuss it.
I just imagine one day when people find this podcast, like, these guys are idiots.
I'm sure that everybody listening is. But we appreciate you listening.
Yeah. Rate us. We gotta tell them to rate.
Yeah, rate us. We'll be on iTunes soon.
5 stars, but nothing else.
Yeah, please. Thanks again to Chase for being here.
Oh yeah, thanks, Chase.
Yeah, my first time here.
Yep, I'm sure we'll hear from Chase again.
You definitely will.
Remember to check in next time. We'll be talking about Captain Marvel, and we'll both review that together and see what we think about it. Thanks again for joining in.